you know. And these studios fail so many times bringing animation to live action, and there's been zero failure so far. I mean, it's been just a home run so far for me.
All right, well let's get from Dave Filoni why he says Lars Mikkelsen had to play Thrawn, because people were questioning. Some people were questioning it, like that Star Wars girl. Ahsoka showrunner Dave Filoni explains why Lars. I think he looks great in this image here. Great Admiral Thrawn has captured the imagination of Star Wars fans since its introduction in Timothy Zahn's Heir to the Empire. Even when Disney declared that much of the Star Wars extended universe was non-canon, Thrawn survived and went on to be featured in Star Wars Rebels, where it was voiced by Lars Mikkelsen. While speaking with Entertainment Tonight in a newly released interview from Star Wars Celebration April, Ahsoka showrunner Dave Filoni said Lars Mikkelsen was really the only choice to play Thrawn. Let's find out why. It was a very considered decision. It was a very big challenge to cast the voice, Filoni said. You know, how do you find a voice for a character that everyone who has read it pictured it probably in a different, unique way? That's really explaining the challenge there. Eventually, that led me to Lars. We are all very happy with his performance in Rebels, Jon Favreau said. It's going to be very hard to beat Lars because Lars is in my head. The sound of his voice is kind of what I write to. He's saying the voice even inspires the writing. So that's how integral it was for them to have Lars as Thrawn.
See, that's awesome. No, I just, out of all the people who did voices on that show, that's the only one I would have picked. Honestly, most of them aren't, and that's something people need to understand. Is like there is a difference between voice acting and let's camera acting.
Let's get more from Filoni to see. It says Filoni entertained other option, but just kept coming back to Lars Mikkelsen. Jon Favreau agreed, and the decision was made. I couldn't be happier, Filoni said. He looks wonderful in blue. Not everyone does, so that's a factor. And we worked on the eyes, so it's a unique thing to bring this character to life. What works in voice acting doesn't always translate to live action. So Lars Mikkelsen had previously said that he did have to make few changes to his iconic Thrawn voice. I'm not losing the voice, but I'm tweaking it into live action, Mikkelsen explained. When you do animate characters, a whole melodious approach, when you're there as a real person, that would be slightly too much. Just slightly too much. So you had to adjust it. But they did entertain other people, and they just kept coming back to Lars. And I understand that. Mm-hmm. If you've already worked with them, and that's how you think when you're writing, I get that.
Yeah. Literally writing lines for him then.
Very unique voice he puts on for it too.
Because he's heard him, voice the character, so he knows how he speaks.
This far surpasses like bringing the Emperor back or something for the big bad for the sequel trilogy, because that's eventually where we ended up. Mm-hmm. I would way prefer a character that we haven't seen in live action yet.
It's really interesting. Has this ever happened before where the voice actor got to play the live action? That's really cool.
I'm sure. I think of it.
I don't know. I can't think of it because it is different. It is a different art form. And a lot of times it doesn't work, even if they tried in the audition process. So curious to see how this guy does it. It's cool.
But I'm happy with it. Again, at first, when he first walked in, I'm like, you got that too, Voltaire? You're like, I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not embarrassed to admit it. I wasn't into it when I first saw him.
Then the acting came out.
Did he not say any lines or something? You see him first.
No, he just walked out. He looks a little bit, overweight older man. It looks like hair plugs.
The first thing I thought of was, oh, wow. And this is him knowing he had this role and probably starving himself and hitting the gym. And that's how he looks. That's the first. And I'm not trying to say, I'm just saying, but that quickly.
Could it be a shout out to Patton? Wasn't Patton overweight? And I know that character is based off of Patton.
If you watch the cartoon, he's like buttoned up and he's almost perfect.
I mean, it's not important that he's in shape either. It's really not important to his
but that's just how the character was in the cartoon.
Was Patton overweight? Hold on. I could be wrong about that.
Yeah, well, by the actor, certainly. By George C. Scott.
Yeah. Yeah, he had a belly. Maybe it was a shout out to him.
Yeah. Well, anyway, it worked. No matter what, it worked.
Bring David Oyelowo for Callus.
I don't know what that means.
The other Star Wars character, I guess, that they might bring back. Okay, so let's go to some other topics. It's not going to be a long stream tonight. I would really appreciate anyone watching on the replay too to thumbs up the video and share it, because we are getting to a point where I really appreciate you regular viewers, because the viewership is down a little bit. It's a little slow right now.
Sorry about that.
People are getting back to work. I don't understand it. I think we're doing great content. I'm very happy with the content. Very happy with the discussions. But you guys, every like, every share, being in the live chat really makes it that much more special when when things, because we're not stopping. We're going to continue. All right, let me bring up Toxic Avengers reboot.
Hell yeah. Been getting good. I think it's premiering soon. So
I wasn't really paying attention to this much, but isn't